Anyhow, don't worry, I have another video. I will share that video to you for this dynamic top n function. So, okay, the next one is what is the ranking? How do you do the ranking in Power BI DAX? What is ranking, and how do you break the ties in rank? How do you break the ties in break? Sorry, in how do you break the ties in rank? So we have seen in the top two, the X product. Do you remember? Right. So 1080, 1080. Since those two values are same, right? The top second item was 1080. Another item also has the same value. Hence, it considered in total three values to sum these values. 1080, 1080, two times it repeated. Similarly, when it does the ranking 1080, 1080, let's hypothetically say that 1080 is the sale amount for the X, right? Top two, so second topmost sales for X is two records. Two records, since two records have the same value, the rank can also get assigned as the same value, right? So, in that kind of situation, how do you break the ties? First of all, what is a tie? First of all, what is a rank X? We will take a look at the rank X first, and then we will get into the advanced part of what is tie and how to break the tie and all. I just go and create another matrix. We'll start with simple example. I go ahead and create category. I drop in the category column here, and the next one is obviously the sales is required. So instead of searching it, better you can type it here so that you will not have any confusions. In the real time, you will have a lot of tables will be there. This is my sales amount by category. If I do the ranking just by eyeballing this, we can see which one is number one, number two, and all. So what I am going to do is now I am going to create a new measure. Okay, rank X, sorry, rank by category. We have a rank X function, and the first argument is table. In our case, the fact sales. Or what we will do is, instead of using this one, right? So dim category, I'm going to use it here, and I'm going to say total sales. Total sales is the measure which we already get, which is nothing but the sum of sales amount from my this thing. Sum of sales amount from my fact table, fact sales. Okay, sales by rank. Sales by rank by values by category. It gives me 1 1 1 1, right? So it does the ranking for each row. We don't want the ranking to be done for each row. Instead, it does the ranking based on the category, right? Each category, what is the sales amount? So for this, what we need to do is we need to use a function called all function. We already discussed. It will disregard the filter. It simply ignore the filter. And for each category, right, it does the ranking now. instead of doing for each row, we don't want the ranking to be done each row. Instead, we want the ranking to be done for each category only. Okay. Here, if you sort this one, you will get to know that. So here, if I click on this, if I click on this one, the top one is for this one. Obviously, this is a bigger value. Hence, the ranking was given correctly here. 25,000 is second highest sales. Hence, it has been ranked as 2. So, in this case, it is pretty simple. What I am going to do is I just copy paste it. Instead of category, I am going to use a product name. So, product has many records in it. I just remove the category. Instead, I just put product name here. But again, it is not doing the sales by rank, because there we mentioned only for the category. So here you need to specify the product name. Right, that's it. So you need to use another measure. We need to use all function on the, we need to remove the filter on the product table. So don't do filtering here, right? So I want to remove the filtering. We remove the filter on the product. Hence what it does is it is going to show the ranking by product here. Okay, sales rank by product. Okay, I should use this one. I should remove this from here. Sales by rank by product. So this is the one. So it is doing it perfectly. Okay, gel, no sales, hence it is not showing anything here. 14, right? The rank is 14 here. And if I sort this again in ascending order, ice cream is the topmost item that we sold it, because the sale value itself very high. So based on the sale value, it has done the ranking. But if you look at here, the 11, right? So 11, after 11, if you see here, 13 and 14 is there. Right, so these two values are same, 200 are same, hence it assigned the ranking as 11 and 11, but it is not continuing with 12, the rank 12, right? So the next question is, of these two, so there is a tie here. We need to break this tie, right? The rank x function, it returns the tie here, which means if we have two rank values of 11, 11, right, it will return a rank of 11 for both our values. That is what happened here. So how do we break the ties? So in the interview, if they ask you, you tell them we break the ties using a rand function. This is pretty simple. So what I am going to do is, I just create another measure. We have some rand function. In the interview, they'll ask you, first of all, did you use rank function? Yes, I used a rank function. And so using the rank, in the case of rank function, did you ever come across a tie? You ended up with some tying. Yes, we, the rank function returned tie in our case, which means we have more than two values have the same rank. In that case, how did you break the ties? What is the problem? What is the solution? So here I am going to sales by rank by product, plus you need to use rand function. The rand function will generate values randomly, 0 to 0 and less than 0. Okay, between 0 and 1, it generates the values. So break ties in rank. If I simply drag and drop this here, there are some other techniques are also available. So look here, when you see here, though it is ranked as 11 and 11, but of these two, this is 11.5. It has given something like this, okay? 11.5. Hence, compared to these two, this is the first 11th one, and maybe it is a 12th one and 30th. So, but both of them are same value. But when I use a rand function, I was able to break these ties, right? So 11.50, 11.20, and 13.97 and 14.59. Okay, so this is how you can break the ties. Now you understood what is dynamic top end function, how to create dynamic top end function. So create a slicer, and then for this the input is a table column value. So this table column value, what you are doing is you passing this as an argument to your selected columns function. The selected columns function will return the value whatever you selected in this column, and for that column, right, that column will get assigned to a variable. That variable will be passed as an argument to your top end function. So this is how dynamic top end you can find out. So in the case of rank function, so this is how it does the ranking, rank x function, right? So in this case of, in the case of rank x function, the first argument to the rank x function is your scalar value, and then the second one is your sales amount, right? So in our case, the sales amount, you can specify quantity also. Based on the quantity sold also, you can do the ranking. So you will get different insight when you go by the quantity also, right? And then see whatever it ranked as 1, 2, 3, and again profit, you can you can do the profitability also. For that also you can do ranking. So yes, in simple term, if you get the same value, same rank, right, because these two values are same, so how do you break these ties? Using a rand function. That's it. Rand function will generate the values between 0 and 1. That's it. See, if you have worked on, if you have any friends, you can ask them. We have in the machine learning, we have something called feature selection. In the case of feature selection, it returns some value like 11.e0023, 11.e0023. Of these two values, which one is very small? We need to find out. Those values are statistically significant. There are some formulas for that. So in this case, simply we use rand function to identify of these two which one is ranked as 1 or something like that. Okay, that's all. So now you understood these things. You can expect this kind of. The next question is, how do you what is decomposition tree? Did you guys use decomposition tree? They will intentionally ask you this question in the interview. What is decomposition tree? So when did you use it? Anuradha, Radha, why don't you open up? Because you are the one attending interviews left and right. What is decomposition tree? What is key influencer?
Decomposition, it divides into the multi-dimensional and it enables the drill through option.
No, it enables drilling down to your
it enables the drill down option.
In any order, you can drill down in any order. See, it allows us to visualize the data across multiple dimensions, and also it automatically aggregates the data and enables drilling down into your dimension in any order. If you want to drill down in any order, and if you want to do aggregations automatically, everything is possible. In simple term, if you want to visualize the data across the dimensions, that is possible. You simply say decomposition tree, and we have something else called key influencer. These two visuals are enabled by artificial intelligence. So the advantage of decomposition is you can visualize the data across multiple dimensions, and also it does the aggregation automatically. We don't have to write any measures, right? It does the aggregation automatically, and also it enables the drilling down into your dimension in any order. And what is key influencer? That is also powered by artificial intelligence. What is influencer? I taught you, right? What is influencer? What is key influencer? Housing rent. Can you remember house rent? I remember, Pramod, you attended that session. I used to check in between. Those of you attended, someone responded that time. So how do you, so what factors can help influencing or estimating the housing? Shreyas, you are a data science. You already attended data science, right? With me. Tell me, what factors can drive the housing price? The size of the house. Size of the house.
Size of the house, location where it is located.
Excellent. Location, size of the area, and number of bedrooms, right? And
Based on the square feet.
Age of the house. Age of the house is one of the influencer, right?
Yes.
So no matter where your house or premises is or office is located. Let's say your office in the heart of the city, but it is a 50-year-old building. Then the price will obviously be very less, right? So these are the factors: age of the house, size of the house, location of the house, drives your outcome. What is the outcome? Housing price. The housing price, we can estimate it based on these factors. These are the important factors. See, in your data set, you have hundreds of columns. Key influencer helps you to identify of all those columns, which columns are very much helpful in terms of determining your housing price. Outcome. Factors, outcome. What factors are helpful to determine the housing price? Simple. Right, so these two are powered by artificial. They simply ask. The next question is, when will you use the tree map? When can you use tree map? Did you ever use tree map visual? They'll ask you, can you tell me the visuals that you have used it? What is the difference between stacked bar chart and column chart? When can you use stacked column chart? When can you use clustered column chart?
Stacked column or bar chart means when I just want to know the part to whole.
Very good. Okay. That is when you will use stacked column chart. When will you use clustered column chart?
I just want to know part to whole at the same time side by side view. That time I'll use cluster.
No, it's part to whole. You are not going to do it here. Please, part to whole is only for stacked bar chart. So in the case of clustered bar chart, if you want to compare the categories side by side. Don't say side by side, categories side by side.
Okay.
So one of the example, region, right? Region is a category, right? So categorical variable. Region column is a categorical variable. In that categorical variable, I have 4 regions or 10 regions or 8 regions. I want to compare north region sales with south region with northwest, southwest. So if you want to compare side by side the categories, in our case the categories, in this example, region. So in that case we can use clustered column chart. If you want to compare the part to whole, so in that kind of situation you can use stacked bar chart. So what is, you said part to whole, if you want to compare it you can use stacked bar chart. So why can't you use pie chart instead of stacked bar chart? So what is pie chart? Pie chart is the commonly used one. Can you tell me what is pie chart and what is the difference between these two, stacked bar chart and pie chart, and when you can use it, when you cannot use it?
Both stacked and pie chart both acts like a part to whole.
Superb. Okay, very good. Okay, next.
But the difference is when I have less number of categories, that time I go for a stacked bar. When I have a more number of categories, that time I go for a pie chart.
No. See, more number of categories you have, it will be cluttered, isn't it? I told you that time. See, the first answer is correct, right? You are absolutely correct. Part to whole, if you want to compare it, either you can use stacked bar chart or you can use the pie chart. But the problem with the pie chart is if you have 20 categories, then everything will get cluttered. there are some pie, it will not be visible at all, right? It will be so thin, very difficult to make out. If the number of categories are less, you can go for pie chart. Even the same is applicable here also. If the number of categories are more, then you can go for this one, the tree map. More the categories, then you can go for the tree map. So tree map, what it does is it creates rectangles, right? And nested rectangles, right? Each nested rectangle represents the next level, right? Hierarchical. If you want to do some kind of hierarchical part to whole something, if you want to compare it, you can see that with the tree map. If you have more number of categories, and if you want to see the part to whole, pie chart and stacked bar chart is not much helpful. And this is and now we have 100% stacked bar chart. What is the difference between this and this? When can you use this and when can you use this one? See here, part to whole it shows, right? Part to whole it shows, but it shows them in terms of percentage. It converts them in percentage. That's all. So 25% of sale we made in north region compared to the whole. 25% we made sales in north region. South region we made 60%, right? Part to the whole. But right, so here also you can, this is, but here in terms of percentage we are saying, here we are simply putting the values. That's all. Okay, you understood? So that is the difference. And next one is, when can you use the scatter plot? When can you use scatter plot? Shreyas, your data science. You attended data science, right? When can you use scatter plot? Don't do Googling. Tell me upfront.
Using scatter plot, we can find the density or how many.
No, not density. Correlation between the variables. Correlation between the quantitative variables. Correlation between two quantitative variables we can find out with the scatter plot. For a simple example is price and sales. If the price is less, the sales is more, right? As the price goes high, obviously the sales will go down. Just because the sales goes down, that doesn't mean there is no relationship exists between price and sales. Still there exists a relationship between price and sales, but it has an inverse relationship. Okay, inverse relationship. The another example is, let's say advertisement and advertisement expenses and sales. The more the money I spend, the sale is also going up. There is a positive relationship exists between ad expenses and sales. Scatter plot is helpful to find out the relationship between the two numeric variables or two quantitative variables. See, in this case, ad expenses is a numeric variable and sales is also a numeric variable. There is a correlation between these two variables. There is a relationship. It's something like husband, wife. Okay, husband, wife are living in the same house. What is the correlation? What is the strength? Are they having a strong bond or just they are living it, right? What is strong? So to find out, see, just a simple analogy, right? So no offense, okay? Right, so in this case, numeric variables, how strong, what is the relationship between these two? As the price increases, the sales also goes down. That's a common phenomenon. And the next one is, see, there are some cases as the price increases, still the sale remains as it is. For example, the gas cylinder. We have to buy gas cylinder for cooking gas, right? And there are some cases, as we spend more, we could see there is a trend that there is an increase in sales. Very good. Then it makes sense spending money on the investments. So in advertisement expenses, right? We can invest money on the advertisement because my sale is going up. There is a positive trend. I just put it like, see, it's something like this. I'm not good at drawing, but when it comes to PowerPoint, I'm very good at it. So this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and here my expenses. I'm going to spend more money on advertisement, and here my sales, right? As I spend more money on advertisement, I could see here initially $500 I spent, and $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. As I spend more on the advertisement, the sale is also going up. These two variables are going in the same direction, right? So as the price the expenses, as I spend more, as I invest more, the sale is also engaged. So there is a positive relationship exists between these two variables. There is a relationship exists between, supposing if the line is straight line, that means in the ECG machine, if you see straight line, what is that? The person is no more, right? His heartbeat is stopped. You see something straight line. That means even if I spend more money, I don't see any pattern in increasing, right? Even if I train someone, right? So there is no takeaways. That is what this one, right? So if you spend more time, let's say you are spending more time in reading, your score should be more. There is a correlation, but here two variables, whatever you're in, supposed to be quantitative variable. This is called scatter plot. See, scatter plot is something like it will be like the values are scattered, something like that. If you draw a line, in the middle of the scatter values, right? All the values supposed to be, all these dots supposed to be closer to this straight line. Okay, so that means there is a positive relationship exists between these two. This line is called a linear, okay, scatter plot. And what are the other visuals? This is the important thing they'll ask, okay. And then when will you use waterfall chart? When can you use waterfall chart? When will you use funnel chart? Funnel chart, I gave you a case study. I walked you through a case study. Radha, why don't you open up?
Funnel chart, I used. I just want to know the process flow in all the stages.
Funnel chart we use for like to check the individual contribution.
Excellent. Who said this? Pramod. Very good. Right. Yeah. Thanks for opening up. Very good. So waterfall is for that, and funnel chart is for that. And so what is Gauge chart?
Target, I just want to know the target.
Okay, the actual versus target, right? You need to say like actual versus target. So here we'll have to specify the minimum value and the maximum value, and then the actual value. The target also we have to specify it, right? That's all. So what is this needle specifies in this Gauge chart? The target. The needle specifies the target. Okay. Fine. The next one is this is key influences, already we discussed. Okay, the next one is the what are the other questions did they ask you, Radha, in today's interview?
Okay. In a tooltip is possible with the card chart. Cards we can use the tooltip or not?
Okay. So here the card, right? So for example, we have something like total sales.
I said them no. For cards we can't use the tooltip.
Yeah, so if you go here, you cannot use tooltip. It is there, no? Yeah, tooltip is there. Even I did not notice that. So good that. Text size, right? You can enable tooltip. Okay, so maybe it's a tricky thing. What other questions did they ask? But it is not.
For bar chart we can use the tooltip or not?
Bar chart, yes, bar chart it will come, right? 1 second, bar chart is a very common thing. For example, this is my bar chart.
They are asking us to show in application or this. Sir, can you tell me that? Like interviewer asking us to show in Power BI desktop or?
No, they just the questions only. No demonstration. She has to tell. It's an oral interview.
Okay.
I think it's orally only, sir.
Yeah. So if you hover the cursor here, obviously you can see the tooltip here. See, in the bar chart it is possible. In this one is bit tricky, right? So even here, since card, right, we specify the title, everything we don't use. So a tooltip is possible with card also. Look here, when you hover the cursor here, tooltip is visible. What other question did they ask you?
How do you test the performance? Your dashboard, how do you test the performance?
Yeah, so next I'm going to discuss that now. So before that, what other questions they discussed?
He asked me about the bookmarks and that direct query and live connection difference,
What is the
and
difference
then
between direct and live connection? Direct query connection and live connection. In the interest of others, why don't you help others also to know that, right? It will help everyone to refresh.
okay.
Give me an example for live connection.
So live connection example is SSTA, it's service SQL Server Analytical Services
Okay,
for
did you use, listen, wait. Did you use SSAS in your project? They'll ask you this question. If you say live connection, okay, before live connection, okay, so give me an example of live connection. You will say, obviously, SSAS table or SSAS, the cube, right? Multidimensional. Table or multidimensional, you are going to say as an example. Did you use them? No. Then what else you use it? Power BI service. In Power BI, once you publish a report, you can use get data, and then using Power BI, the data sets, you can import it, right? So once you import it, see the difference between direct connection and live connection. The first and foremost thing is, when you import the Power BI report which you published on cloud in your Power BI desktop using Power BI data sets, when you look here, when I click on this, it will ask me, look here, it says live connection. The connect live option for this file is disabled because it already contains data frame, another data source. If you want to connect to Power BI cloud service to download a report which you published there, okay, so in that case you are not supposed to have the data to be downloaded from any other or loaded from any other source system. When you use Power BI service, for example, if you want to, I just show you for the purpose of others. This is, I already explained it. One more time, I'll just show you here. Simple thing is, we can use Power BI report. See the data modeler. Once they design everything, they publish it on cloud. So the same report can be reused by multiple reporting users. What is that? See here, I just opened it. Another one. So don't worry, after this, we'll quickly jump into the performance tuning part, right? I will give you some examples, and with that you can manage it. Okay, so the next one is, yeah, this is the empty one, new Power BI desktop. I just click on the get data, and Power BI data sets, I just click on it. This is, see, it got connected to my cloud. Okay, since I already given the username password, right? Something like, for example, when I open this one, what happens is, so I am downloading it from my Power BI cloud service. Okay, if you use Power BI data sets, as part of your get data, I'm talking about this one, Power BI data sets from the cloud. You are not supposed to have any other data sets to be loaded here. If you have it, it will not allow you to download it. That's why I opened the new Power BI desktop. Okay, look here on the right side. Let me just clean all the mess. Look, it's on the right side. I imported that ex_mtd_qtd.pbx file from my cloud, so it got imported here. But when after you imported it, you can see these tables were used in that, and the data view got disabled here. And when you have only two icons are available here, right? So you have only two icons are available. One is for the data modeling design. You can see it here, data models, whatever data model we used, and then the report canvas. That's it. You cannot see the data here. If you want to see the data, obviously you have to use this one, the The one advantage of this one is the model, the other users, right? It can be used by multiple developers. For example, in your project, let's say yours is a sales project. The sales project, they did all the modeling, but once they design everything, the data model part, this one, they publish it on cloud, and then they'll ask the user to import it and use this. So the advantage here is you cannot you cannot delete the relationship. Look here, when you right click on it, even if you try to right click on it, it will not work. If you try to delete, first of all, the manage relationship itself will not be in. Look here, this one got disabled, right? You will not be able to make changes to the model. There will be a centralized control. If I allow everyone to make changes to my data model, if they wrongly create some wrong relationship, but course ID with course key, it causes some confusions, right? That is the reason why only one person will create everything. It's kind of read-only mode for other developers. Other developers can reuse this one. They don't have to worry about the source system connection details, all the things. They don't have to worry about it. Okay, everything is available. Only thing is they simply drag and drop, create the reports whatever they wanted with this data model. That's it. This is a live connection. So why live connection is better than your direct connection mode? Why live connection is better than your direct connection? Is it better than direct query, or which one is better? Obviously, compared to direct connection, this is faster, right? The direct connection is faster. So even in the case of SSAS, you create let's say you create SSAS cube, everything. It's kind of cache. Everything is cached here, right? The moment when you download it will get cached. So everything is in cache. The performance will be faster. In the case of direct query, you are directly connecting the source system. Depends on the number of users connect to your source system. Depends on the jobs that are running on your source system. The performance will vary, right? So live connection, that's why the live connection is better when it comes to performance than direct query. So when do you use import? When will you use for direct query, direct connection mode? When can you use direct? And Radha, why don't you make it fast? Okay, so that probably it's the import is available locally, right? So it is available locally. Anything which is available locally, it will be faster. On top, Vertipack engine, what it does is it converts your source data or tabular data into columnar data, and also it compresses the data and it loads the data in memory. That is what the Vertipack engine does when it comes to import. Okay, what Microsoft recommends is use import wherever it is possible. You can use import because you can leverage the features offered by Vertipack. What are the features offered by Vertipack? Vertipack, what it does is it will read your data and then it converts the data into columnar database, and also it compresses the data and loads the data in memory. What is the difference between columnar database and tabular data? Columnar data and tabular data we already discussed. Let's say in my data set I have 100 columns are there. If I want to select only 2 columns, in the case of tabular, it has to go and check each and every column. Hey, this is not the column I'm looking for it. This is not the column. It has to skip until it finds the required columns. For example, you want to see category, and can you all please listen here? Okay, please don't get distracted. Okay, can you all please listen here? Right. So when it comes to columnar database, it goes to the columns directly. The data gets stored in columns only. Hence, if I want to access only 2 columns, for example, category and sales, it goes and scans only the category and sales column. Whereas in the case of tabular, it has to go through each and every column until it finds the required column. If you have 1000 columns, it has to go and check each and every. So that's the reason why columnar database is faster compared to row-based, tabular-based data. So Vertipack engine converts your tabular data into columnar data, and then it compresses the data and it loads the data in memory. Right? That is the reason why the performance is faster. not only the data is available locally, right? So the data will get cached in memory. That is also the compress and load the data in memory. So that is the reason why Microsoft recommends use this one. But simple common sense is, if you are SQL server, let's say in your SQL server, so you tell them, we have SQL server, we have a combination SQL server, and we got some data in flat files like CSV format and JSON file, and sometimes we are supposed to use the Power BI data sets also. Okay, so in that case, direct query, there are some limitations compared to the live connection as well as import. There is another difference. Okay, in the case of direct query, only you can use a limited number of DAX functions. Even in the case of live connection, you can use most of the live connections, like how you can use it in import. But import, compared to all other mode, you can use all kind of DAX functions. But even in the case of live connection, there are some limitations. But compared to direct connection mode, live connection mode is far better. You can use more number of DAX functions, whereas direct connection, you are limited with using less number of DAX functions. You need to tell that one also. And also the direct connection, we are directly connected to the source system, hence it doesn't require frequent data refresh. When it comes to import, we have to refresh it. And also if you don't use premium license, per day only 8 times only the data refresh is possible. If you use import, it requires data refresh, whereas if you use direct or live connection, it doesn't require data refresh. Remember this point also. Okay, and in the case of direct connection, let's say my data volume is very high. We are using 70 million records in one of the fact tables. Hence, we don't want to use import mode to import the entire data. It's a time-taking process. Hence, we use the query folding option. But even with query folding, we are not able to do the extensive. But since because of which we used to fire a SQL query, we created a view, and that we used to call it from Power BI. And there are some aggregation needs to be done on the source system SQL server. We created a view with aggregated thing, group by everything we did it, and simply we call that view from our Power BI. For visualization purpose, we use that one. That's it. Okay, that's the difference between these two. If the volume of the data is very high, simply go for direct query in the case of RDBMS like SQL Server, Oracle, and so on. The next one is performance. In the case of performance issue, how do you handle it? This is the last question I'm going to talk now. So what kind of performance issues that, how do you handle the performance related issues? How can you deal with that? What kind of answer you gave it to them?
No, sir, for this question I didn't answer.
Okay, no problem. So that's good. So one way it is good, we'll save time, right? So now I'm going to say something like this. For example, okay, I'm going to create quickly one visual here. I'm going to create a table. I'm creating 2 tables here. Or listen, I'm going to say customer ID. Instead of deleting this, I deleted that. Customer ID. Or else, let me see if I already created this one here, demo. In the interest of time, no, it is not there. Okay, let me, yeah, performance tuning is already there. In the interest of time, already 10:50. Look here, this is my table, this is another table. Here what I did, so when I select this one, you can see the things that are highlighted. So measures, right? I have used a measure by the name of here KPIs. Let me do one thing. I have used something called calculate, distinct count, customer ID, filter, fact sales, quantity, anything, the quantity is greater than 0, right? So you show me the customers, where we sold, more than 0, right? So greater than 0. So, each customer ID, how many number of items that we sold. the same output. If you see the values for these two tables, the output is same, but the measures are different here. So when I selected this one, let me see what other thing that I use in KPIs. Total sales M is this one, right? Yeah, this is total sales M. Okay, let me do one thing. This one is coming from customers M, customer ID, and total sales M. Okay, this is, let me do one thing here. Distinct count greater than 0, customer M 1 it shows 6, and total sales it shows there is some problem here. Total sales M. Okay, total sales M, these two are same, right? Total units, let me not this one. And it takes a lot of time.
And also we are what are the different types of refresh options available in Power BI?
What are the
Different type of refresh options available in the Power BI.
okay, the refresh options, what did you say?
Yes, like package refresh, data or model refresh, visual container refresh, and file refresh.
Okay, visual container refresh, and then
Tile refresh.
tile refresh, visual container. What is tile?
Tile, it is a single visual that is similar to a dashboard.
Okay.
And one more question, what are how many types of context filters available?
How many types of?
Context filter.
Okay, what are the context filters are there?
Filter context and
Row context and filter context. Okay. What is query context? See, the query context has two types of filters. One is the evaluation context, which is nothing but the query context. Okay. So I just show you here. 1 second. Let me.
And one more he asked, in Power Pivot, what is the engine that is behind there? Something he asked.
What is the engine?
That behind there in Power Pivot. And he said the data model, what engine is available? Something he asked.
The Vertipack engine, right?
Okay.
That is what I've been talking, right? Vertipack engine. So, okay. So, look here, distinct count. Here I've used keep filters. In this case, okay. In this case, customers M1. Customers M1, right? So, M1, I've used this one. The filters, keep filters. And here I have used something else called
X velocity is used in Power.
X velocity engine or Vertipack. See, now they call it X velocity engine. Okay, previously it was called as the Vertipack. So both of them are same only, Vertipack, and but you can say where the Vertipack, right? So you can say X velocity. That is the latest name they've given it.
So one more important question he asked. Suppose tell me two examples that two tables does not have a relationship. A table does not have a relationship. Tell me two examples.
Tables that do not have relationship, right? So okay, we have something called junk dimension. Okay, so in that case we will not have any relationship. Okay, junk dimension, we will not have any relationship. Apart from this, the table functions that we are creating it, like using filter function returns a table, and calculate table returns a table. So for this and all, we are not going to create any relationship. Even in the case of junk dimension, we are not going to create any relationship. Okay, but I don't remember on top of my head. I will probably check and tell you which tables that you don't create relationship, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Which tables you don't create relationship? We create a relationship between all tables, right? So maybe they are asking about the virtual table. The virtual table, these are the one will return the virtual table, right? The virtual table, even that using data table function, you remember data table function, how to create the relationship, right? Inner join, all the things I have demonstrated. Oh, maybe they are asking something like this, right? So probably I'll check and tell. Even it's a new one to me. Okay, which table do not have relationship, but you can still say in Power BI without relationship we cannot get the output. Okay, for example, look here. So I have created two visuals, and for this one I have used a measure called total sales. For these two things, the total sales is same, the measure is same. But for customers, in this visual, what I did, I have used a measure called customers m1. So this is the one here. In this case, calculate function. Here I'm using key filters. Both of them, both the measures are same, customers m and customers m1, but only thing is here I'm using a key filters function, but here I'm not using key filters. Instead I'm using, one second, I'm using something else called the filter function. Here I'm using filter function, here I'm using keep filter. Now what we will do is, for example, in your project somebody has written this table and you have rewritten the measure with this formula. Now let us compare the performance. Go to view tab and use performance analyzer. If anybody asks you the performance is very bad, so how will you find out in the visual, right? So if you want to know the we will use the performance analyzer. What is performance analyzer? It helps us to understand how the performance of the report or dashboard can be optimized. Okay, so what we will do is you need to select the visual and start recording. The moment when you click on the start recording button and you need to click on the refresh visuals, the performance analyzer, what it does is, right, when you click on start recording refresh visuals, it captures the duration in milliseconds for each visual on the page, right? So when I look here, I have given some name for this visual, filters, and this is a simple table. I did not give any name for this table. And if you use filters, you can see the DAX query takes 71 milliseconds. In a year I used keep filters, so it uses only 40 milliseconds. Okay, and if you see the rest of the thing, it is more compared to this one, right? So 640 overall, it takes 640, and visual display takes 338, whereas here the visual display takes just 269, and other takes 294, and the other takes 262. But the DAX query, if you want to see the DAX query performance, how much duration it took, the slow DAX query, for example, if the DAX query is very high, right, it takes longer time, right, it is worth investing your time in terms of doing analysis here. Why this DAX query takes more time? Because it is slow, right? More the time it takes, it is slow. Lesser the time, it is faster. So what it is, click copy query and put it in DAX Studio and select this one and see it, okay, which one is better. But rather than putting there also, right, so here the same table, see these two table return shows the same value, right? That means if I use the two, in this case I have used two different DAX queries, right, but both the DAX queries produce the same output. But of those two DAX queries, which one is best? Whichever DAX query takes lesser time, that is the best one. This is simple common sense, right? So DAX query, this takes only for, so that means this one, whatever the thing that I used it here, the customers M, here I have used keep filters. Instead of using filter function, I have used keep filters. With this, my DAX query performance is better. You need to tell this way. So you need to, we just investigating the visuals which took, see, in real time scenario you will not find just 40 and 71. If you find 18560 and more value, higher value here, that means it's worth, you can invest some time. Probably you can rewrite the DAX query and then create another table visual, right? So instead of using this DAX query, you can use another DAX query. The sales is same, sales column comes from same measure, simply drag and drop it. But for customers M, right, I've used different customers M1 and customers M, these two, I use different formulas, DAX functions. Here I use filter function, here I used keep filters. When I use keep filters, the DAX query performance is far better. The duration is, if they ask you in the interview, in case of any performance related issue, what we will do is we rely on the performance analyzer. So we go to view ribbon where you will find the performance analyzer, and then you select the visuals, or you click on the start and refresh visuals, all the visuals whatever is there, right, it will capture the duration taken for the visual, how much time it took to render the the visual, how much time it took. So though the DAX query performance is high, but the rendering time is less here, right? If the duration of the visual display is large, in that case, right, you can reduce the amount of data that you use it in your model. So there are two things they'll ask you. First of all, I've used performance analyzer to investigate why the performance is slow in the Power BI. Okay, and the second step is as part of the performance analyzer, I just go through the DAX query and then visual display. The DAX query has a large, it has taken a large time duration. In that case, I go and investigate that. In the case of visual display, if I find more time, that means I'll try to reduce some data. Probably you can filter the data, apply some more conditions and try to. This is the simple common sense that we do it. Okay. What is the other thing?
How do you implement dynamic RLS?
Dynamic row level.
Security. Sir, and one more question. How can you give security to your dashboards and reports?
Yeah, anything security concerns admin's responsibility. I did not involve it, right? But can you tell me the question? How do you make sure that you have security? Yeah?
No, sir. How do you implement dynamic RLS, dynamic row level security?
I explained it, right? I explained you dynamic row level security. Are you not watching my videos?
No, sir. That question I explained him. I answered him. He asked.
No. Okay.
How can you give security to your dashboard or report? Whatever you.
Oh, dashboard and reports, huh?
How do you do security to your dashboards and reports?
Okay. So one way what we do is the Power BI service, right? But Power BI service, when you use, say, the Power BI data set, I imported it, right? Live connection, right? So live connection, you have a better control. But if they say when you use live connection, there are limitations. You cannot. You said you have used this one. What is that? The data flat files and tables, everything. You can tell them still the tables and flat files, everything they included as part of the data model in a specific Power BI report, and then they published on cloud. We are supposed to download it. That's all. That is the way we secure it. Okay. So we don't have, none of the individuals, right, apart from the author, have access to remove the relationship or modify the relationship. We don't have anything there. That is one way of securing it. Dashboard, probably I will check and tell you, but still that is admin's responsibility, right? So admin, the dynamic row level security we know very well, right? So what we do is, instead of statically doing it, we use user principal name, right? We capture the user principal name, and then whenever the user logs in, it automatically captures based on their email ID. It captures their email ID, and then we use a table, separate table, to maintain each user and which region they are supposed to access. Those information we store it there. So you can watch my dynamic row level security. The dashboard security, probably I will check it from my side. Yeah.
Suddenly he asked, sir, at last, give me your two reporting manager numbers with their name.
What is it? Report manager?
Your
Reporting manager, right?
reporting managers two numbers and with their along with their number phone numbers give me.
Landline number?
No, for landline number or phone number.
You can give your uncle number.
I given my husband number.
Security and the customizing the tooltip. These two things they might expect you to be good at, and the rest of them are pretty common. I think you should be able to handle it. Anything related to performance, you can tell them we have used performance analyzer to capture, to find out the the amount of time taken by DAX query and visual display, and you need to tell why you need to look at DAX query, why you need to look at the visual display, because if the visual display, if I see more time, so then something wrong with the data. Instead of using the entire data, let me see is there any other way I can filter it. Okay, and the DAX query performance is very high, then something wrong with the DAX query. Probably if you see here we are seeing 71 millisecond. If you see 2531, that means something wrong. Probably rewrite a DAX query. After rewriting the DAX query, what is yours? If the time is less but the output is same, then it's good, right? And what about the other here? They'll ask you what is other here. So the other, which is nothing but the background process, how long it takes to prepare the queries and fetch the result set, right? That is what the other it shows. Okay, you need to. They might ask you these three things, and apart from this, then the DAX Studio. Look here in the DAX Studio. I just go and look here. Usually, what we do is we copy the query from this one. Look here. You need to click on the copy query, and just go to the DAX Studio and paste it here, and take the another query. This is the problem one. I just paste it here. So what you do is you execute one after another, but before execute it, here you will find something called query plan and server timings. You need to enable these two things. When you enable the query plan and server timings, and then you need to press F5 or click run. It will take some time to run. It will show you how much the CPU took, and subclass, and the query also it will show you, right, how it fetch the data, right? So decount from faxes, all the things, and you will find something like a formula engine SE. This stands for formula engine, and this is for storage engine. So the moment when you drag and drop the measure into your visual, what happens is your measure will get executed on the fly. First, your measure query, DAX query, will be sent to the formula engine. Formula engine is responsible for generating the query plan. That query plan will be sent to your storage engine, and then, right, so upon receiving the query plan, the storage engine has to send the data back to formula engine. Only then the formula engine can produce the output. Okay, so based on the data which is received, it sends the data to us for visual display and all. Okay, so but ideally the formula engine should be less, and if the storage engine is more, means it's good. The storage engine can do multitasking, whereas this guy cannot do multitasking. It it is not as it is not asynchronous, it is a synchronous one. What do you mean by synchronous one? It processes the queries one after another. For example, if you use 10 DAX measure, if you drag and drop it, each and every, unless and until the first DAX query plan get generated, the second query will not get. It's something like queue. You'll have to wait unless the first person completes the movie theater, right? So unless the first person gets his changes back and ticket, he cannot. Second person, they will not give the ticket. Same thing. It is it's a sequential task. It does the jobs in sequential, whereas this guy does everything in parallel. It's an asynchronous process. Okay, so if anything is more, it is good, but it is but in general what we do is we compare these two queries. For him, in total it took 30 milliseconds, and the second DAX query we will execute it and see how long it takes. And also you need to see this one, it takes more time for you to understand. Look here, when you click on the query plan, you will find something like physical query plan and logical query plan, right? So it's a bit difficult to understand this one. Anyhow, at this moment we will see. So even in this case it took only 30 milliseconds, and let me just, it took the same thing, fy. So here it took 0 milliseconds and 35 milliseconds, right? So okay, 35 milliseconds formula engine, whereas here it took only 24 milliseconds, 0, right? But you need to clear the cache, and you need to run it more than 3 or 4 times to find the stabilized one. Storage engine cache 3 and storage engine queries 3 here, but whereas here we will see what happens in this case. It caches the query. In both the cases it will cache the query. Yeah, it caches 9. Look here, but in this case, right, it generates, it scans multiple time, rows 42. The first query generates 42 records, and again second query does all the things, right? So it multiple queries are there in the second case, whereas in the first one it is doing, it uses only 3 times, right? Only 3 scans are there. Line 2, 4 scan. Yeah, it shows 2 scan, 4 scan, 6 scan, 10 scan. See, in simple term, if you find, if you reduce this one compared to this query, let's say you are comparing your rewritten query and the previous query, and if you see any improvement here, 18 milliseconds with the second query, and first one is 25 millisecond, second one is 18 millisecond. Whichever query takes lesser millisecond, then it is good. Okay, and then formula engine should not take much time. Okay, and if this one takes more time, or if you if you try to if the storage engine takes up more task, right, it can do parallel tasking. Okay, so you need to identify functions. You remember I explained about sum and sumx. Sumx function, the storage engine itself, right, it does some kind of simple calculation, everything. If you do anything, any calculation or anything in the storage engine, the performance will be faster. Okay, so this you will gain it over a period of time. In the interview they ask you, so I use formula analyzer, performance analyzer in the report canvas, and then what we do, we take a look at the DAX query and visual display and other. And if the visual display is more and DAX query is reasonably good, then we try to do filtering. We introduce more filter, right? We try to restrict the number of records. And if the DAX query takes longer time, very unreasonable something, we find it, we rewrote a query, and then we copied the query and tested it in DAX Studio by enabling server timings. Okay, with the server timings we could see that the formula engine with the rewritten query, right, the newly written query, it took less number of time. In total it took less number of time, and also the formula engine time also very less. So that's how we made sure that the query performance was good, and right, so that's how we did it. Okay, and also in the SQL query in used by some other user, I just reviewed their report, and they were using correlated subquery. I recommended them to use the non-correlated subquery, because in the case of non-correlated subquery, for every record in your subquery will get executed for the corresponding outer query record. Each record in your outer query, the subquery will get executed. Supposing you have 1 million records in outer query, every record, the subquery will get executed. Whereas in the case of non-correlated subquery, the subquery will get executed only once. In the case of scalar subquery, the output will be the output will be used to drive your outer query. The subquery will get executed only once. So these are the areas I did some kind of performance tuning. These are the values I brought it to the table. They'll ask you, hey, you are a 10-year experience, 5-year experience, why should I recruit you? Even if I ask a person who just attended the interview, a smart guy, he can also tell what is bookmark, what is tile, what is the difference between report and dashboard, and what is dynamic row level security. Everything he can tell. What else you can do it. So you can tell these kind of things, right? So we reviewed, not only I completed my task on time, sir, but also I helped my team members to improve their report performance. So we found something that they are using correlated subquery. I suggested them, after investing in it, I understood it doesn't require non-correlated, better use correlated subquery. So, and also in the case of DAX query, we have used performance analyzer, right? So, and then they are not aware of it. I trained them, help them to understand what is performance analyzer, how to interpret the output of the performance analyzer. And we found there is a problem with the DAX query. We could see it took 2583 millisecond. And what we did, we rewrote the DAX query, and then we could see some kind of performance improvement. The DAX query duration was reduced. So that is when they think, this, if I recruit so and so person, is going to be my asset. Apart from that, they'll ask the reporting manager contact number. That is to understand. Are you attitude is very much important. So some people, they are very good, technology, everything is fine, but when there is a problem, burning issue, they will not show up. Simply they send a message saying that I'm sick, I'm out, or they switch off the mobile. If you if somebody is calling in your office, if you pick up the call, and if you, no matter what your situation, if you call them, and if they say, hey, today is Sunday, some job got failed, it's very critical, I tried reaching out to Surender, he is not available, so why don't you help me out, why don't you jump in? If you jump in and resolve that, then they will think that you are very good, okay, you are the best person. That's how you need to work hard, at least the 6 months or 8 months to gain your result. But it's not that 6 to 8 months, right? Initially you have to prove, okay, so that you are not a cost center to the company, you are the asset to the company, right? So you need to perform, you need to bring in different, you need to show differentiation, that's all. So these are the points you can use it. Definitely they will think that you are good, and I will send you some DAX queries comparing that, which DAX query I've used it, and after rewriting the DAX query, how the performance got improved. So those things I will send you the query with my reports or my Power BI report. You just look at this. You can probably talk about this at the time of interview. Even some senior guys I have interacted with, they say all these things, query plan, all they don't know how to interpret the query plan, logical query plan and physical query plan. So you can go to query plan. You can spend some time, do some googling, right? How the flow it is, how the physical query plan is getting executed, how the logical query plan. This is the query plan generated by formula engine. It sends the query plan to your storage engine, right? So that is how. So those of you, I would urge you, right, to watch my recent playlist, DAX introduction session. There I discussed about the Verity package, nothing but X Velocity engine. Please remember X Velocity engine. This is very much important. Okay, that is the heart behind Power BI. Okay, guys, it's getting late. Even I have meeting. Sorry, I took much of your time. So all the best. In case of any questions, you can reach out to me. Any interview questions, please share it with me. At least 1 day in advance or 2 days in advance, if you can let me know if you have any interview or something, right? We'll try to help you out. The meanwhile, watch my today's video. In today's initial session, I did not, period. That is the difference between parallel period and same period last year. Date add also, see, date add and parallel period is more or less same. So you can go as far back as possible, or you can go as forward as possible. But in same period, there is a restriction. You cannot, go, 1 year back or 2 year back, or 1 year forward, 1 year, 2 year forward. You cannot go back. So that is the difference between date add and parallel period, right? So you just keep that at the back of your mind. Month to date. If they ask you what is month to date, starting from the, say, let's say today is 24th April. What is the month to date sales? So in that case, starting from the beginning of this month to till yesterday, not today, because today sales, right, we are not sure. So, and starting from the beginning of this month to up to, or starting from the beginning of the month up to, or 1 day before today's date, right? So which means 20th April, 1st to 20th April. What is it? So why to month to date, year to date? So we want to find out the variation. So compared to last year sales, for example, year on year sales comparison. So what is this year sale? What is the last year sales? So last year, prior year sales, right? So what is the difference between these two? What is the variation? If the variation is too high, then we are gone. So compared to previous year, current year sales is very less. Then it's, hey guys, I forgot to tell you one more thing, sir. Dynamic, this one formatting. Dynamic formatting. Just hang on for a second. I'll finish it off. It may not take more than 1 minute. So even I go to bed by 2 a.m. every day. So that doesn't mean I tell you to go 2 a.m. Just give me a second. See, in this case, what they asked, right? So good that Madhavi, reminded me when I yesterday, right? She sent a message. See, in this case, for example, based on some sales amount or something like that, right? If you want to do something like highlight the values, red color, blue color, or some other thing. Or else I will show you here itself. So dynamic, how do you dynamically enable the conditional formatting? So what you do is you create two measures. So it's something like, you can use switch function, right? Total sales is less than 80,000 red color, and between 8,000 and less than 1 lakh, it's yellow color, and green color. You create, so you define the colors there. Okay, you can directly specify green color or something like that. 1 second, I mistakenly opened that one. For example, see, I'll take one simple example. Look here, so this is the one. I just quickly show you so that, right, so tomorrow you can attend interview, or we don't have to have one more session, right? Today itself we'll end it. So the dynamic thing they lost, dynamic row level security, dynamic top end function, dynamic conditional formatting. Okay, this I opened it. Let me do one thing. If I close this one, already I did it there, so that I can show you just like that. See, it is something like this. I'll just create the measure in my notepad itself. Why to wait until this opens? In the interest of something like, I create a measure. Okay, good that it is open. I create two measures. One is background color, and the other one is font color, something like that. Okay, so here you can use switch function. We discussed about switch function. True. So true function. Here what I am going to do is I am going to use total sales. I remember the measure that I created. If the total sales is greater, instead of using if function, I am using switch function, because in switch you don't have to write multiple if, else and all, right? So here I am going to say 80,000 means, if it is red, if the sales is less than 80,000, that means red color. It's not that good, right? So, or else if the sales is greater than 8,000, and you can put more than one condition also using double ampersand, and you can say the total sales is greater than less than 1 lakh, something like that. So we'll define some kind of cutoff. 3, 4, 5, which means yellow color. Background color is yellow, and the font color we'll give some white or something like that, okay, so that it will be visible very much. And here what I do is, and then if it is going to be greater than or equal to 1 lakh. This is the one she was asking in her project. Yesterday she was working on something, but unfortunately I could not help her that time. I was outside. The same thing I just copy pasted. So font color also we can use it, the same thing. Here simply say we have something called font color, and same thing for this one I use red color. If you use the white font color, it will be good, so it will be very much visible. And yellow, you can, if you use yellow, right, so white, you can use white here. And if it is greater than 1000, yeah, here I am going to say green. Alright, so for green I am going to use something like white. Here also white. So here for yellow I use something like black color thing will be good, right? So here I need to end this with green. Background color, you use it green if the sales is more, instead of going. And I hope all of you remember about this one. I discussed about see, this is the one, parallel period and difference in sales, right? So I just go and create a measure quickly here. 2 measures. So here automatically it will highlight if the sale is more than, and also you can compare these two things, same period last year, current year and last year, what is the sales. If the current year sales is lesser than the previous year sales for this month, you put it in red. That is an assignment for you all. I will share this the report file, you can try that one. Simple. With this one I'll show you. So background color. So now what you need to do is you need to come down here. So I have selected this visual. Go to sales, whichever field that you want to attach it, you can attach it here. So you have conditional formatting here. You just select this background color. Instead of selecting the value manually here, so what we are going to do is format style field value, and here background color, that measure name, background color, that's it. You select this one. It's not yet created. Yeah, background color, right? So it got created. And let me just select the sales value and conditional formatting, background color, and here field value, it will show you this one. Here you can specify background color. Ideally you need to put it here. I am not sure why it is not coming here. 1 second. Yeah, I'll do one thing. I just first drag and drop this one here. I'll make it part of this one, and then what we will do is we just go here and then conditional format, because we need to make it part of that one, right? Otherwise it will not be available as a field. So here now if I type background color, still it is not coming. Background color, it is not getting selected. Let me see if that one got dropped here. Background, oh, it gives me true or false, right? So okay, something wrong here. Let me just check the value. If it is total sales is switch true, okay, and total sales is less than 800, it should display. Okay, for yellow it display correctly, and okay, switch true, and total sales is less than 8000, it should be red, right? Okay, so what I will do is, right, I will send you a separate video I'll create on this one, okay? And yellow, and something wrong here, true. For yellow it is correctly displaying it, the switch true, right? total sales is less than 8,000, comma. Yeah, it was correctly displaying it in my report. So in yellow and this one. Sorry, here I did not put anything. So that's the problem. Okay, here let me put green. Since it is returning true or false, right? Something semantically it is not correct. So I should have put it in double quote. But anyhow, the same thing you need to create it for the font color, the one I have shown you here. You watch my video, okay, and so put it there. So here the green should be in double quote. So dynamic conditional formatting also I have covered. Yellow, and this one is for this one, right? Okay. Yeah, it is coming out correctly now, right? So green and red, where is red? So 86,000. Okay, this is, I'll put it something like 90,000. Okay, 90,000 and 90,000 and above. Sorry. And then you just go to sales. Green red is coming, very good. So now I just go here, the background color, you need to select the format style of field value and background color. Now it got enabled, right? Even if it is semantically wrong, it is not picking up. Look here. So now it is highlighted, so less than this one, right? So yellow color is not coming. You need to check the value. So now you understood how to enable the formatting dynamically, right? The conditional formatting dynamically. Same, you create another measure for the font color. Okay, so instead of black here, you put some white, right? Something like that, right? So you can use this one. And other thing is, if the sales, look here, I computed the difference in sales. What is the current year sales, last year sales? What is the difference in terms of percentage? 1.40, right? So if it is increase, right, you need to use some kind of the icons also. Even for icon use, you can use some color, icon color. You can copy paste this, right? You can use some colors for that icon color also. But font color, you need to go and specify in this conditional formatting font color. Icons, you need to use icons. Okay, so that's how. See here I use that background color measure. Similarly, you need to use the font colors related measure here. Okay, select the field value, and the field value is your font color. That's it. So, and similarly icons also you can specify it. Okay, so that's how you can specify it. You can enable dynamic conditional formatting. Now you understood dynamic top end function and how to break the ties, everything, all the important concepts now you understood. And at a high level you understood the difference between the same period and date add and parallel period function. Both date add and parallel period are flexible compared to this one, the same period. All right, Madhavi. Madhavi, yeah. So I think you would have done it this way, right? Or did you do it differently? Good that Madhavi also joined now. Did you do it this way, or did you use some other technique?
No, sir. Actually, my team member only he done some other calculations using if and some. I need to check, sir.
Yeah,
Because
different approaches are there. See, in our case, we create a separate file for that. Okay, even for colors, all the things, we create a separate. We create many measures, all the things. Whichever color that so you want it, you can use that color also. There are some reports I have seen it. Okay, but this is a simple and straightforward way of doing it. But understand from the interview point of view, at least this one help you to crack the interview. Okay, but different project they use different technique, but this is one of the techniques. All right.
yes, sir. But thing is that here he is not taking. I mean, in my report, I am not taking sales. Just weekly increase or decrease. For that he has created index.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, last week index. Previous and two indexes he created.
Mm-hmm.
But that only he used some dash function. Then only this is happened.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. You created index, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, even in here, right? So in Power BI we can create index also, right? So maybe use different approaches, but this is a pretty straightforward. See, there are some project customer themselves will tell us, don't complicate it, okay? Make it straight. So, but again, so I don't know. So without seeing their code, I cannot comment on that. But this is how you can enable dynamic. Okay, it gives you some foundation, right? Basic idea how to enable dynamic of a conditional formatting. Okay, with the different approaches. Probably I'll discuss with Madhavi later, and if possible, right, we'll share it if that is the different approach also. Right, fine.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So any other questions so far? Okay,
So
so yeah.
what project should I put on the CV?
I shared the resume. Not yet you received my profile?
No, not at
Hey
this
guys,
time.
I'll request you all, if you don't receive profile, see I am also working professional, right? You just remind me, okay? Don't send me a reminder, or not every 1 hour, right? At least send me, my profile is not ready. Can you please share it? I will share. That's how others they follow up with me. Follow up
Yeah,
with me.
sure.
I will share it with you. Okay. I asked my people. They did not do it yet. I'll follow up with them tomorrow. And if you can remind me, right, I will work with them to share the profile. All right. So rather, I already shared your profile. Most likely this Monday you will receive an interview call. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right. Be prepared. Good that one way you attended more interviews before even completion of the training program. So you got a lot of questions in your hand. Now you have answers also. With that, I hope you can crack that Monday interview. Right.
For which company, sir?
I'll see that is confidential. I cannot tell but it's a
Okay, okay,
a
okay, sir.
tier
Fine.
one company. Tier one company. Okay. Don't worry.
Okay, sir.
All
Okay,
right.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Okay, sir.